Good morning. My name is Jack Patel. I'm the conference coordinator here at the University of Riverside. It is with great pleasure that I welcome the presenters, the attendees to this global conference. The University of Riverside is a private university located in Southern California in the city of Riverside, California. We are an educational organization that centers on building strong global leadership and community development. The mission of our global conferences and symposiums are to promote global understanding among participants and to disseminate knowledge for the benefit of people around the world. This conference on global education provides an opportunity for great leaders, academicians, and professional people in this arena to collaborate, network, and move to a higher level of global leadership. So what I would like to do next is go ahead and introduce, and I'm going to share screen so that we can start with the program. And we're going to do that right now. So if everybody can see the screen, I hope so. I will just leave it to the speaker box in the corner here. I want to welcome everyone once again. And what I'm going to do next is introduce our session chair for this conference and read a little bit about who she is. Our session chair, we're welcome and we're very excited to have you here today, is Dr. Gurmeet Hanan from Egypt, actually. She's a public relations and mass communication professor in MCF at Cairo University, the Deputy Dean for Society and Environment Services Affairs at the Faculty of Mass Communication, Cairo University. She is the editor-in-chief of the Public Opinion Research Journal and the reviewer of many referred journals and public relations consultant for several multinational organizations. Supervised over 30 master and PhD theses and dissertations in Egypt and many universities across the Middle East and Europe. She has executed more than 25 studies and researches in different fields of mass communication, public opinion, crisis management, social media technology, and public relations. She attends and participates with more than 20 local and international conferences related to communication technology and online public relations. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dr. Gumi at this next time, and she will introduce what is going on today.
So, hello everybody. Hello, Jack. Hello, the whole university. Hello, Lang. I'm glad to be with you today in our Global Education Conference. Of course, I'm from the other side of the world, and this is the main mission for these conferences to gather all of us across the world in order to exchange information and to, of course, to develop our background information in many of the fields around us, and to increase, of course, our awareness towards many new things to us. Even if I'm, as they told me, or they consider me in Egypt and in the Middle East and many other countries, that I'm a professor and I have my name and title. If you go on Google, you can search for everything about me. But even we are students in the field and in the arena of knowledge and science. So I'm sure that I'm going to benefit from the papers introduced today. First, we have along our conference, and which will be for 2 days, today and tomorrow. We will have about 4 main researchers representing 4 main studies. Today will be establishing, the first one will be establishing, its title is the Establishing Mathematics Teachers Professional Development Supporting System with Mindset Mathematics Teaching and Learning. This paper is, let me just a second to read the bio. It is for Professor Lange Aldi, yes, Aldi Chang. He is a graduate from the Graduate Institute of Educational Administration and Policy Development and Department of Education. He is a teacher's college, National Shai University, Taiwan. I hope that I'm pronouncing the name right, Dr. Lang. Professor Chang graduated with a BS in Mathematics and Science Education from National Tsinghua Teachers, yes, Tsinghua Teachers College, Taiwan, and completed a MED in Education from East Washington University and a PhD in Curriculum and Instruction from University of Idaho. USA. After completing doctorate degree in USA, he went back to Taiwan in 2003 and taught in the university level Graduate Institute of Curriculum and Instruction till now from 2009 in National Shai University. In 2017 till 2018 academic year, he becomes a visiting scholar of University of California in Berkeley Graduate School of Education with Professor Alan Schoenfield, focusing on the studies of mathematics education. And now it's great, Dr. Lang, and we are eager to hear you presenting your the PowerPoint or the presentation of your study. So let's go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know, Dr. Chang, you had requested that you'd like to screen share. So at this time, I can stop share and you can go ahead and pick up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it is when I press the button of sharing my screen, it says
Go ahead. It should work now.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, right. Oops. Okay, can you see the screen? Oops.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me adjust my screen a little bit. Okay, thank you for Jag, and also especially thank you for the chair for introducing me. And I'm honored to have this opportunity to present our preliminary findings of the research. And oh, I got it wrong, sorry. I should, this is mine. Okay, and then so the title is Establishing Mathematics Teachers Professional Development, Supporting System with Mindset Mathematics Teaching and Learning. And I'm Aldi Chen from National Jai University. It's great to be here. Actually, I'm in the state right now and nearby the UC Berkeley, as our chair mentioned that I was a visiting scholar of UCB with Professor Alan Schoenfield. So I just met him yesterday to talk about more our collaborative research project. And so, and I'm excited too, is that because my son is going to study in UC Riverside this semester. So, and a few days later, I will go to the Riverside personally. So maybe I can stop by the University of Riverside and then, say hello to Jag and others. So, and here is my project. The phenomenal elementary math mathematics teacher, depending on the context of textbook, you know, when they teach, they commonly use the textbook most of the time, and so follow the orders of textbooks and then try to teach mathematics. So, and also because the whole educational system and whole environment of our educational system, you know, we have later on in the middle school and high school, we have a national examination. So it's mostly the teachers doing, you know, one-way lecturing and drill for the, you know, the mathematics questions because they are practicing for the examinations. So that's kind of like a daily, you know, practice for the mostly, you know, like almost like half or more of the classroom in Taiwan. I was a elementary teacher once after I graduated. I got a bachelor degree for 7 years, and ever since I became a university professor, and I still work with a lot of elementary teachers to help them to develop their mathematics lesson plans and try to help students learn mathematics better. So, and in this kind of learning environment, students usually gradually lose their interests and motivation in learning mathematics because they use of these undesirable teaching practices. You know, when I study my master degree and doctoral degree, and also as a visiting scholar in the States, a lot of scholars, you know, teachers or students, they ask me one question. You know, we have a consider comparatively a good performance in the international evaluation, such as PISA or Teams, and even for teachers for the TEDS-M. But you know, especially for students, and they have a nice performance like top 5 in the for all countries that participate in PISA or Teams, but their interest is considerably, you know, low for it comparably to other countries. So that's a question. So every time they ask me, how can you teach a kids, you know, have a really good mathematics achievement, but they don't like it. So that's the problem we have to deal with, and we try to find out why and how to improve it. And in Taiwan, 2019, we have a new curriculum standards. Actually, the name is changed to curriculum guidelines for the 12-year basic education. And before that, it was the 9 years curriculum standards. And this time we include high school and try to connect the elementary and middle school to high schools. And for mathematics, school and teachers are asked to get ready for implementing these guidelines. And where, you know, the teachers are asked to use more real life scenarios and hands-on activity in the classroom. Then, so that in the learning process, they can help students to, you know, get better understanding and also get really the, you know, real problem solving skill, not just just solving the problem, get the right answers or multiple choices, something like that. And also they have a positive learning attitude and interest, as well as providing equitable access to the mathematical content in every classroom. And especially, you know, for we have like a average size of like 25 to 30 kids in one classroom. We only have one teacher, and a classroom teacher to teach mathematics. And it's hard because students' ability are diverse. So some students actually not truly engage in the learning activities, or they don't really want to participate in because they are not interested in the learning mathematics. So this is the problem that I mentioned before. So one may ask, our mathematics teacher able to design and implement proper mindset mathematics teaching for cultivating our students' mathematical growth mindsets? And why use mindset mathematics teaching? So I have to explain a little bit because actually 3 or 4 years ago, I came here UC Berkeley as a visiting scholar. So I learned a lot of things from Professor Alan Schoenfeld. Uh, he is a well-known mathematics education scholar around the world, and he was the president of the AERA. I use his true framework to observe and design the whole PD process and observe the PD and also the teaching and learning process for my previous project. And at the same time I was in Berkeley, I went to Stanford University and to have a close connection with the Professor Joe Bowler. And that's the place they and also learn something from the Professor Drake. And she proposed this mindset stuff in 2008, and continually with Professor Joe Bowler, she tried to design the mindset mathematics teaching materials, and so that we can help our students to get their mindsets to become a growth mindset instead of fixed mindsets. So I use this idea to have my next actually current research project. So this is what we are going to go through today. So for this study, we're going to in this study we're trying to establish a PD supporting system with mindset mathematical teaching, where elementary teachers try to analyze, design, and implement the mindset mathematical teaching. And the whole PD process will be examined and evaluated for the purpose of enhancing the quality of teaching and learning in practical settings. So this is the main purpose. And also accordingly, we are trying to reach the following objects. It's a 3-year project. So this year is just at the end of the first year. In this PD supporting system, we try to, in the first year, we try to assist target mathematics teachers to understand basic principles of mindset mathematics teaching, and also about try to guide them to analyze and design current mindset mathematics teaching for the second year experiment. So, and I'm trying to now to introduce a little bit about theoretical framework. As I mentioned, in my previous research project, is using the true framework from Professor Alan Schoenfeld, and also his problem-solving ideas. So here are the problem-solving phrases that those teachers has been used for 3 years. There are 4 phrases. So one is, the first one is posing the right question, and the second is translating real world problem into math. And then for the computation, and the last one will be translating math back into the real world. So the teachers is well known about is really knowing about this problem solving phrases, and then practice this problem solving process, designing the lesson plan and implementing it in their classroom for 3 years. And so, and also another one in this project we use is the my co-author, Professor Wu's previous study. And there's a teacher PD phrases. There's for try to design is so-called mathematical grounding activities. As there are 4 phrases. The first one is exploring what is ground and when and how to establish. And the second one is merging real life situations into mathematical problem. And third one is mathematical thinking, reasoning, problem solving. The last one will presenting, pilot teaching, sharing, discussion, and evaluating. So these 2 are the previous framework has been used in this PD programs, and these teachers are familiar with this theoretical frameworks. And in this research project, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that's the first one we use is Professor Carl Drake from Stanford University about the mindsets. And as the book from the book is New Psychology of Success. And also I let the teachers watch the speech of Professor Drake on TED. So as the name is Power of Yet. So those are something they are trying to do to understand. And this is also the framework I use in this study. And the other part is, as mentioned, is Professor Joller, their mindsets, mathematical mindset materials for K to A curriculum. And right now, as she has already published the K and I think to A, like it's only 1 grade missing for the K to A, and they will have 9 to 12 too. So we have all of those mindset materials in Taiwan. So so the teacher can try to access this content. And also the new book, I think it's published in 2019, is a limitless mind. And so they're reading it right now. And of course, there is a website of YouTube, so everyone can log in, and teachers, I ask them to log in to see some activities or video clips that provide directly from Professor Bowler or her colleagues. And here is the research design. And so this is mentioned, this is a 3-year project granted by Ministry of Science Technology in Taiwan. And we use a single case holistic design for this 3-year mixed method study, but mostly qualitative. Quantitative just as a supplementary method to gather more information from the students and also from teachers too. And in this presentation, we're drawing the data from the first years. And there teachers are from the higher grade levels, 5th grade and 6th grade, in an elementary school, public elementary school in southern Taiwan. Actually, it's in Jiayi. And it's about 6 to 7 teachers usually will participate for the PD program, and only 3 teachers actually join the experiments. So they will design and implement their research lesson in their classrooms, and we will get into observe and collecting more data. But other 4 teachers, they are, join us, not just the PD program, and as well as they also went to observe the teaching and try to provide more their opinions when we have a PD activities. And so, even though it's not in this studies, this presentation, then the third year, after 2 years, the first year is mostly our PD, and then they will, at the end, they will design experimental research plan, research lessons for the second year, experiments for the whole second year, which means the next school year, academic year, they will do the experiment. And then the third year, we will conclude things from the first 2 years, and then we'll try to provide outreach tasks to the surrounding area for more elementary teachers to join us to see how to design and implement mindset mathematics teaching in their classrooms. And and data are gathered through semi-structured observations, individual summative in-depth interviews, and follow-up interviews, and various kind of documents, and analyzed qualitatively. Okay. And here are the findings. So for the first part, the key tasks for this study are to design and implement the PD supporting system with mindset, mathematics teaching and learning. So this is my job and my colleague. And so here is the project, the research project, the framework we use in my previous project is it's true framework. So Professor Alan Schoenfeld, true frameworks, except that we have lesson studies combined together, so become a true LS framework. So where teachers not just join us for the research project, actually they become some like similar like us, they have a researcher's role. So they will analyze their own, teaching video clips, and then they will try to improve it, and based on the peer discussion, and then us researchers like us, we will try to help them, while as if it is needed. So this is the parallel research project, the framework we use. And also our learning organization is the PD program for teachers established. This is the framework. So on the left side will be is the lesson study cycle. So we use this cycle study. So they will study the materials we provided to them. For example, in this study will be mindset teaching materials from Professor Drake and also Professor Bowler or other, journal articles. And then they will try to plan the lesson plan, and then they will do the research lesson and try to reflect on the data collected from the research lesson observations. And at the same time, in the other side, we're trying to help them to modify their own knowledge and beliefs about what they are learning or doing. So, and hopefully that's the outcome. We try to improve their instruction and their students' learning quality at the end. Okay, so in this PD programs, this is what we are doing. The first one is reading, as I mentioned. So the books, journal articles, and websites. And of course, though mostly these are in English. So what I do is, as a researcher, we and the teacher educator, we translate the main idea, into a short handouts, for example, like the book, and or basic informations for them. And the others are the we using the original English version, the book, journal articles, and the website for teachers to read. And if they have questions, so we can discuss in the PD activities. And also after they're reading, they have to share their ideas, what they read, and also what they think about the stuff they read, and discuss with others. And within this 6 to 7 teachers PD group, actually there are 2 or 3 teachers. Actually, the 3 is the 2 teachers are so experienced, and so, but they try to coach each other. So we use peer coaching methods. So they are equally, even though their 2 teachers are more experienced. And the third one is we try to design the research lesson. And that is what we're doing at the end of the first year. Right now, they have already finished their research lesson design. I will show you later. And they try to do the pilot experiment and after that they try to discuss for revision. And for next year we were doing try to implement the research lesson we have that has already been revised, and try to do the formal experiment in their classroom for next year. And we try to have more units to more research lessons. This year is only 1 pilot research lesson. And for the second year, it will be at least 1 or 2 research lessons in each semester. So totally it will be like 3 to 4 research lessons for a school year. And also we try to analyze students' performance in the pilot experiments, and also later on the formal experiments. And their psychological states, for example, their efficacy beliefs, and also their learning outcomes. Okay. And for the second part, with the PD supporting system, we try to help these teachers to analyze other mindset mathematics teaching materials after receiving substantial professional development progress. For example, the Professor Bowler's stuff. And also after the whole process, the discussion, and we together, actually mostly are from the teachers. I'm just trying to assist them to do it. To generalize the following things, 3 parts. The first part is what's the core elements for the mindset math teaching material when they are designing and implementing it. And the second is the cyclical steps and moves, probably when they design the research lesson, and also the strategies they use in this research lesson, so they can help their students learning. So here is the first part, the core elements. There are 4 elements of we draw actually from Professor as Linda Darling Hammond. That's the models of learning. There are 4 parts. The first part is the nature of content, and then the second is criteria task, and the third part is characteristics of the learner, and the 4th part is teaching and learning activities. So I think that we use this model as the root of the whole designing the research lesson as for the theoretical framework for designing. And also with these four elements in mind, an inquiry-based learning approach has to be employed. And that's the teachers think it is needed. And also they agree that they will use a collaborative small groups learning task. Actually, they use not just small groups, they use the whole class teaching and small groups like 4 to 5 students, hetero and homo groups. Sometimes they use in a different task, and also they use pair, and of course they have individual learning task too. And in addition, and they try to encourage students to make mistakes. Actually, this is truly not allowed in Taiwan because we say we have a lot of tests, and they will have tests in especially the entrance examination for the getting to the high school and the college. So if you make mistakes, your score will be lower. So usually it's not allowed. It's not just allowed in the classroom. Their parents will, concern if they make a lot of mistakes. So, but right now we try to encourage students to make mistakes because making mistakes may help them to think about it and to reflect on it and try to find out how why I make mistakes, and also how can I improve. Then I can get the right solutions when they solve the real life situation mathematics problems in the classrooms. So it will help to promote their growth mindset development too. So this is what they are doing, they will do in the classroom. This is some pictures for their small group learning activities using the teaching aids. And this is another classroom, so they work together, everyone engaged in the learning activities. As I mentioned before, previously, usually in the classroom, there will be some students they don't really participate in the learning activities because they're not interested in, or they're, truly left behind. So in the 5th grade, probably their mathematics is just like a 3rd grade or 2nd grade level. They are, kind of like being given up. So we try to have them to engage in the whole learning activity by using the collaborative small group learning task. And these are the cyclical steps and moves. Actually, it's we concluded that will be the basic design model for our research lesson, but it is flexible. It's a cyclical steps. So the first one is launch and try to explore and operate and play and discuss and extend. So if it is needed, the explore, operate, and discuss can be repeated in different kind of learning activities. So I will show you the example later. And also, there are 3 phrases that are categorized in implementing this mindset mathematical teaching in the pilot experiment. The first one is initial connection, and the second part is deep understanding, and third part is elaborate transfer. So we conclude from the pilot experiment. And the core strategies, of course, there are a lot of strategies, but we try to conclude more specifically that for the mindset mathematics teaching. The first one is trying to use numbers with open mind. So we will give numbers, but in a traditional mathematics classroom in Taiwan, teachers give them weird numbers or very large numbers, and try to use the numbers, try for them not in the open mind concept. They try to use it in a fixed way. So if you don't get a number right, and you will be wrong. So we try to have a more open-minded way to use numbers. And also we try to design visible learning activities. And third one is operating teaching aids and objects through an inquiry-based activity. So we try to have students explore first, and not to just tell them, this is what it is, and this is what you need to know. And the fourth one is trying to apply multiple methods, passes, and representations in designing the learning task. And fifth one is giving equitable opportunity for all students to engage in the learning process, even the disadvantaged students, the lower achievers or in the classrooms. And the last one is try to employing formative assessment to measure students' mindset development. So teacher will design the formative assessments like learning sheets, and during the when the student are doing the learning task, so students have to finish those learning sheets. Then we will clearly see the process and their thinking in the learning sheet. So here are the examples. So I will switch to the first one is two teachers in fifth grade level, but the two teachers had two different teaching styles. Even though their teaching sequence are similar, but they and also they try to use mostly similar teaching aids after discussion. But later on you will see the two different ways we see in the pictures. And the research lesson is cylinder and pyramid. And if time is enough, then we have another teacher, sixth grade, that have a research lesson for service area. So I will show you the one. Okay. So, oops. So, okay. So here is the examples. Sorry for mostly are Chinese, but I put some English words, the words on it. So I just show you that, especially the cyclical steps for that, and also some of the use of strategies. For example, this is the first class, and for this cylinder and pyramid lesson. And the lunch stage, they use the prerequisites to help student to get wake up their memories about previous learning for the two-dimension shapes. And so they ask students something to remind them that what did you learn from the square and rectangles and everything. So an angle and size, so everything they can have close connections to the new concept they're going to learn for the three dimensions shapes. And so, and the beginning teachers try to use the teaching as try to help students. I will make it bigger so you can see more clear. So they will try to use different kind of teaching aids for students to explore by themselves. So, and then, so students can discuss the cylinder or pyramid they got, what kind of characteristics of the cylinder they got, what's the differences of similarity from the different kind of cylinders they have. So, and ask student after discussion, they ask students to come to the front of classroom to explain their ideas to the whole class. So this is the explore process, and this is what their exercise could look like. And also, let me see. And then they after the exploration, a teacher asks them to try to operate or play with the teaching aids by themselves, but they use another kind of teaching aid instead of paper one, so they can resembling the cylinders by themselves. Okay, so they have to work in a group and discuss how to make it and make it right. And at the same time, they use colors to try to ask them to use colors, but some of the groups, they just don't really like to use different colors to mark different sides of the cylinder. So, and within the process, they try to discuss how they made it. And after that, they try to make a different kind of cylinders and pyramid. So then they will discuss what's the differences between the two, and so they're trying to make a different one and do the discussion. And the teacher will conclude their answers, their discussion on the board, so that every student can see clearly about the characteristic of the pyramid they have. For example, how many sides, how many what kind of shape you got, the two-dimensional shape you have on the surface part. And then this is what I said, this is silico. So they try to find patterns and comparisons by using different kind of pyramid or cylinders. So the explore, operation, play, and discuss, this phrases are repeated if needed several times. So, and let's see, going down, this is what student try to use different colors. So on the bottom side and also the other side. And then the final part is the extend. They try to use another different kind of teaching aid to discuss, especially about how to use the net to fold it as to become a pyramid or cylinders. So this is try to explain it, and also they try to discuss it in the real life situation where you might see this kind of cylinders or pyramid in your real life, in the real world. So this is the end of the extended one. And here is another teacher. As I said, the two teachers have different kind of teaching styles. And for this teacher, he likes to use PowerPoint presentations for supplemental teaching materials to help students when they conclude or introduce some ideas. It's the same one. He got a lunch phrase and also try to introduce remind the students what they learned before, the two-dimension shapes, the angles, the size, the point. And this is the screenshot for the slides, and try to remind them something. And here as the explorer, they have, so even they use they have a selection of the teaching aids, 3 different kind of teaching aids, but the 2 teachers use in different kind of sequence. And the first teacher, he used this kind of teaching at the end, but this teacher used this one at the beginning. And so they try to explore the 3-dimension shape and try to distinguish the differences and find out the differences and the similarity of all different kind of cylinders and pyramid. So this is the first part, and when they are exploring, teacher will ask some questions to the small groups or the whole classes, and the student have to observe and operate it and playing with it, and also try to discuss it. And then they will show their findings, find out the patterns, and compare and contrast 3-dimension shapes, and share it in a small group, and later on share it to the whole class. And every group need to select 1 representative students to present their ideas or their findings to the whole class, so they can know each other's findings. And also they try to use the same, they try to making their own cylinders or pyramid by using different kind of teaching aids. And so this is what the other teacher used before, so I will go really fast. And they will try to make it and discuss this in a small group, and also present it to the whole class. And at the same, the teacher will conclude their findings on the board and put it in the PowerPoint presentation. And then so after school, students still can access the PowerPoint. They put it on the class website, so the parents and students and teachers can see all the presentations, PowerPoints online, if they want to see again. And then they use the paper one to try to play again, try to find out. And finally, they extended. They try to discuss the similarity and differences, and also try to connect to the life-related objects. And so they will discuss and answer the question individually or in a small group. So this is for the second one. And as I mentioned, there is another teacher for 6th grade, and she was teaching the surface area. So for the beginning, she tried to have them to review about the cubes for the preparation, actually, for the lunch phrase. And this is their operating the teaching aids, and also an activities for students. They're trying to, I'm showing this way, they're trying to use newspapers to make a cube with the every side length is 1 meter. So they try to make it and discuss it, how to make it and how to measure it is really 1 meter and together. So this is for the lunch exercise for them. And then after that, and also they try to use Lego, the cubes, Lego bricks for teaching as a teaching aids too. Okay. And let me see. Okay. And here there are 4 parts of by using, as I mentioned, the problem solving strategies in the whole process. But it's similar that to the 2 5th grade teachers, but I use different ways to interpret it. So in the first one is they try to analyze and understand the meaning of the question. So usually in Taiwan, student cannot get the right solutions because they don't understand the mathematics questions, because they, in the mathematics question, usually we use a lot of, words to describe it. And so if they don't understand it, and they probably cannot get the right solutions. So that's the first part. They try to discuss together and try to use the teaching aids to understand, the words written in the question, and so try to solve it. And
Dr. Lang,
yes,
sorry for the interruption, but we have a limited time for each one between
okay,
40 and 45. So can
sure,
you wrap up the presentation, please?
sure, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So okay, so I think this for the conclusion is professional development supporting program, as I mentioned, is established, and but it will be verified in the second year too. It will be continuously doing that, and also as I mentioned, this pilot experiment research lesson will be also implemented in second year by different teachers, because we switched teachers. This year they are fifth grade, but they'll continually become sixth grade teacher. So, and they will teach the same research lesson designed by the previous teacher. And the sixth grade teacher next year will become fifth grade teachers again. So it's kind of like a cyclical process. So they will try to implement it in the second year. We will get more data and more research lessons designed. And so that's the future text for the second year. And we'll try to find out students' growth mindset situation is better or, worse. And also at the third year, I said, if we conclude some successful cases and useful resources during the second year, then we can establish a PD supporting system and then try to execute exploratory outreach tasks in the future. So this is my presentation, and thank you. So if you have any questions, so you can raise it. So I will start sharing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you greatly. We appreciate your presentation. It was very detailed, very clear, and very important. Really, the topic is very important. Before I proceed in my certain questions or points, I want you to elaborate for me. Opening the Q&A period of time for you. If anyone want to present or to ask anything to Dr. Liang before I'm going to ask my questions. If anyone want to uh, present any question or submit any question. Okay. For the time being, I want you to thank you, Dr. Lang, for your studies. Very, very interesting. Of course, for me, the social science, all the social science topics have common things in between. It's for me, it's new, of course, field to hear, but I was very attracted to the way you, we call it in our field communication to be experimental study, uh, which longitudinal experimental study, in fact, because it will be over, as I understand, over 3 years. This year, yeah, this is the preliminary findings, and then still the second year, and then afterward it will be the third, which will be the final findings. Anyway, your topic in actually related to the scientific thinking. For me, when I look how to benefit from it as a social sciences studies or researcher, not only communication, anyone can benefit from it. the way of presenting or teaching for the school children, this very critical period of age for the students, the elementary school, which is I think class 14 or class 7 or 10, yes, from 7 to 10. So it's very, very critical age. We call it a magnetic. Their minds like magnetic. They always absorb. So to let them absorb the way how to practice the numbers and to make calculations related to the actual word and to the real word is very, very for something marvelous and very, very good one. But now, what do you think, Dr. Lang? Is this way of technique, mathematical technique, can be dependent only by itself, or you are going to mix between it and the traditional techniques, other traditional techniques of mathematical teaching? It's in the field of mathematical teaching. This is one question. And the other thing, all the teachers who are teaching mathematics can be available or be eligible to teach such mechanisms, such method. Are they be qualified to teach such methods, or it needs a certain quality of teacher with certain characteristics and like attitudes, motivation, and all of this stuff? Do you think with me that it needs a pre-training courses for the teacher in order to get in and to be qualified, and when they are being examined and well absorbed for the method, so they can proceed with the students? Because any mistake in such methods with the students, it will have a very bad consequences, of course. So they must be sure of what they are going to give to the students. And the other thing, do you think that these methods will be okay and it can be applied for the mathematical, for the students all over the world, or just with a different curriculum, with a different style of learning? For example, can we here in Egypt or in the Middle East, can we apply such technique? In the US, did you apply, did you try it in some of the schools, or just it is confined to the environment and the surrounding environment, the curriculum and the mind of the Chinese students? Do you understand me?
Yeah. So
So this is enough for me, but anyway, it's a very, very significant topic, of course, and I appreciate it much. It's as for me as a communicator or a professional specialist in this field, I think that your topic will relate, or it is already related to what we call it on the university level. There is a very, very main important topic. All of the graduates or all of the undergraduate students must have it in order to graduate, which we call it the scientific thinking.
mhm,
Scientific thinking.
yeah.
All of the students, all of the universities must have it and must see it in this curriculum. So the thing that you begin this scientific thinking curriculum or way of thinking with the school students. So this is very, very, of course, advanced level of way of learning and teaching for the students in early years.
Mhm. Okay.
Other things that it also related to what we call it educational literacy. So from the point of view of the teachers, it's what we call
Mhm.
educational literacy also, because we have something in between or common, which is called the communication literacy. So it's your
Mhm.
turn. I want to hear from you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you for the chair. And I think I will answer the second questions first because that as you asked about teacher are qualified in using this strategies or ways to teach. I think that's one of the main problems we had in our teacher education system in Taiwan. This is starting from when I get my PhD degree. This is my dissertation study. We have a system that similar to the States, that we try to have prepare our pre-service teacher in a general way, not specific for the mathematics. So the 4 years college, they only took like 2 or 3 courses that related to mathematics content and mathematics teaching. So actually, after they graduate, they become a elementary teacher. They teach in elementary school. They become a classroom teacher, and a classroom teacher have to teach language, which is Chinese, and mathematics, and sometimes others you have social science, or if you are like male teachers, you will teach PE, and the female teacher might teach in the art or music, something like that. So the teacher has to teach different kind of subject areas, but not everyone are major in mathematics or science. So for some teachers, it's hard for them. Actually, they probably don't truly understand the mathematical content they are going to teach. They probably themselves, they have misunderstanding or misconceptions, and they probably don't know the exactly or specific teaching strategies they can use in teaching mathematics. So that's the problem. But that's why we're doing for the not just because we have this kind of pre-service teachers training. So we need more teacher training when they become a real teacher in the classroom. So those teacher training we provide as a PD program is so important, that to help them to understand those methods, and so that they can actually, it's not we are not giving them a certificate, but based on the whole activity, the discussion, you will understand, and also the pilot experiments, you understand that they get it. They get the theory, and then they know how to put it into the practice. So they become qualified, teacher. And when you see the students' learning process, sorry, we don't have time to show you the video clips right now. But actually, when we do the observation, you will see that students are truly understand the content. And instead of just, somehow just writing the right mathematical question, get the right answers. So actually, they did it successfully. So then you will know teachers are qualified to be that. But before they can do that, as I mentioned in my presentation, we need to do a lot of things by reading, discuss, and share, and then try to design, and then try to implement it. So that's the whole process they need to go through. Then they will get actually sign kind of like a certificate.
So it needs a preparation to prepare the teacher before, in order to be eligible to join such programs.
Yes.
And such method. And of course, this will be very difficult to circulate for all the schools. It needs time.
Yes.
To change.
Yeah, it needs times. Yeah. Yes, so that's why we have other teachers, they join the group. but they are not, they think they are not ready to show their classroom or, you know, do the experiments, but they can join the whole PD process so they can learn from those experienced teachers. And then they maybe the first time they can use the lesson plan has already been designed, and the whole process, try to do it in their classroom, you know, and try to do it. But they can learn from each other. So
You didn't
that,
try to apply such method to some of the schools in the US?
yes, I think for Joe Bowlers, Professor Joe Bowlers, they a lot of American schools use her materials and join her PD program. I went to one of the PD activities in Stanford. So they, every time they have like 200 and more teachers come in and try to learn together, discuss together, and design the activity together. And after that, they get back and try to teach it. And so they probably not join the research project, but actually they join the PD, and then later on they can come back to study again. And I also, if you go up to the website of the YouTube, so you will see they have online lessons for those teachers. They can participate. Some of them are
As a
free, some of them.
recommendation, yes. As a
Mhm.
recommendation, I recommend that you can, in the future, in the near future, after finishing your third year findings, that you can
Yeah.
make another advanced research or study comparative one between the US and China to
Oh, yeah.
see the
Yeah.
differences and there's something common and difficulties here and there and how far they success and so on. And the third
Yes.
level
Yes,
will
right.
be in the Middle East. So that you can
Okay,
circulate.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
No problem.
sure.
Yeah, this is what we are going to do. Yes. And also for your third question, actually for the sixth grade teacher, she actually applies some of the strategies and also the design process in her other classes in language, in Chinese, and also in social science. So those strategies or the processes, I think, for designing or implementing the lessons are applicable to other subject areas. So, but of course, for some, you know, that you have to adjust it a little bit, not directly use it, you know, you have to do something, you know, a revision. So, but it can be used in different kind of subject area. Also, it can be used not just elementary school, in middle school or the secondary level, you know. Even I use some of them in my college course too for the pre-service training. So students also try to design their, you know, study the book and also design the lessons too. So they can do something before they graduate. So it will be better. So, and I think, so this Jeb coming up is, which means the time is up, right?
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. It was a
She
pleasure. I
want
really-
to.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, definitely. And I just want to comment, that last comment you made was, it's very true. They want to take something like this, a model that can be applicable throughout so many subjects. And the other comment I wanted to say is, I know one of the comments that was on your slides about equitable. Equity is a very huge topic right now discussed in the United States. And more so because of the pandemic, I know, you know, across the United States, making it equitable in technology was a huge, huge factor. So that is key. And I'm glad that you kind of mentioned that as well, because, you know, it always is not about the understanding. Equity is misunderstood. It does not mean equal. Equity means, you know, giving it to a level of their understanding. So if they need more, you can give them more. If they need something here, then you give them something here. So you're not at the same level of teaching all these students and all these students. So equity is so misunderstood, and I'm so glad that you're touching on that. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and head it back over to Dr. Penny. Thank you for letting me comment.
Okay.
Dr. Gunn?
So yes, we will have the next paper. It is for please the slide of Professor Su Shai Angel Wu. I hope I pronounce it. No, the second one. The next slide. Not this one.
You have a
Yes.
delay. You have a delay in your I am at the correct
Now we
slide.
will be with Professor Su Shai. Yes. Can I begin?
Yes.
We will be with this next paper of Professor Su Shai Angel Wu, Department of Early Childhood Education Teachers College, National Chai University, Taiwan. Professor Wu graduated with a BS in Early Childhood Education from National Chai Teachers College, Taiwan, and completed a MED in education from Eastern Washington University and a PhD in curriculum and in instruction from University of Idaho, USA. After completing doctorate degree in USA, she went back to Taiwan in 2003 and taught in the university level of Department of Early Childhood Education. Till now, from 2004 in National Chai University in 2017 till 2018 academic year, she becomes a visiting scholar of University of California in Berkeley, Graduate School of Education, focusing on the studies of young children's mathematics education. So we have two both in the same field, you, Dr. Lange, and Professor So Chayu. So there's many things common in between you, both so very interesting. And now you can present your study or research paper. It will be, its title will be about exchanging early childhood teachers, professional development on teaching number concepts with peer coaching strategies. I think there's many things will be in common between this paper and the Dr. Lange paper. I think there's common things between you, and I'm interested to hear it. So you can begin.
Okay. So here is Professor Wu, and I think that she's using another monitor beside to see us. But I will do the presentation. So if needed, the Professor Wu will come out because since we are doing the project, we are the researchers. So I will do in the presentation, and if needed, Professor Wu will explain it, or during the question time, if it needed, she can answer some questions directly. So, and I will share my screens now. Okay, okay. This is the project. It's enhancing early childhood teachers PD and teaching number concept with peer coaching strategies. And mathematical learning and thematic teaching, actually that thematic teaching is usually commonly used in early childhood education. So, and this kind of mathematical learning in thematic teaching emphasize solving real life problems occur in young children's life, which is neither similar to the traditional subject matter activities nor implies combining various mathematical concepts to develop serious semantic activities. And learning concept, but that's the problem of Taiwan, too, in the kindergarten level. Not all the kindergartens using a thematic teaching, even though our standards for kindergarten, it is required for now for teachers to design a semantic teaching lessons and to use it in their classroom, but not every one of them. Actually, only less than probably 30% of them, they should try to use semantic teaching. So some of them still teaching the traditional way and try to teach something, earlier in their earlier age before the formal elementary school, because we know that in elementary school, we're teaching the formal mathematics. And in kindergarten level, it is informal mathematics. It's the preparation for kids to get ready to the elementary level. So, but in Taiwan, the parents have some ideas about they use the idea of no child left behind, in the wrong way. They say, I want my kids to be in front of everyone. So then my learning has to be, advanced. So they try to learn the like multiplications, the timetables which will be taught in second grade level. They will try to introduce that in the kindergarten level. So it's really not right. And also, actually, it is not right to teach in a subject matter way in kindergarten level. It should be integrated teaching and learning. So this is the situation we have in Taiwan right now. And learning number concept is so important for their, later on, the mathematical learning. So it's the foundation of learning mathematics. However, very little academic research has been conducted in early childhood education in Taiwan in the past decades. So that's why she's trying to doing this kind of research and then try to help kindergarten teachers to know and get in the right way to teach in the kindergarten classrooms, and to teach the right way of to have students learn in the right way for their future learning. And also teacher quality, I think, is really essential things for a successful educational system. But as I mentioned, our in-service and pre-service training in Taiwan for the kindergarten mathematics teacher teaching is inefficiency. So it's similar to the elementary teacher training, pre-service training. They just teach kindergarten teachers generally idea. They probably only have one or two mathematics teaching courses, introduce how the mathematics is, how to teach it in the kindergarten level. So it's not enough. The teachers have to work alone. And then probably they will give students wrong ideas or concepts. And so, but actually in every, for the in-service kindergarten teachers, they have their own specialty and experiences. Even though not everyone is major in mathematics or good at math, but they can learn from each other, so they can improve together. So that's why we try to use peer coaching as the strategy in this PD program. And so this is the purpose. And the first one is to try to establish a PD program for promoting kindergarten teachers teaching and number concepts. And the second one is try to explore the target A teachers PD process in an affiliated kindergarten of public university in Taiwan. So that's the main purpose. And here is the theoretical framework. The peer coaching is the most important one. And then teachers observe each other and negotiate improvements goals, develop strategies to implement goals, observe the revised teaching, and provide one another with feedback. And principles of peer coaching are like equality, listening and ask questions, open-ended questions, dialogue and reflection, and implementation and revision, and mutually beneficial for each other. But as I mentioned, similar to elementary situation in the kindergarten, teachers usually work alone. So they probably don't like to ask questions, they especially the open-ended question. They don't want to have a close dialogue with others because they have lacked experiences while they are pre-service teachers training in the pre-service training programs. And they don't truly like reflections. And so it's really hard part. So we try to employ this peer coaching principles in the PD program to help them to grow maturely. And in this PD, and we try to create a two-way interactive environment for better teaching and learning. So teacher has to interact with each other. And also, like under the condition of teacher-centered environment, that's what we have mostly in the Taiwan kindergarten. But the same problem is making mistakes is a problem. So free of mistakes is very important. And searching for teacher strengths is so important. So they have to know each other, they can learn from each other, and so they can, this peer coaching process will promote their self-regular learning and also their implementation of reform-based teaching practice and through the brainstorming process. And then they can contribute to increase their teacher efficacy. Okay. And also the inquiry-based teaching things were used in this project. There are 4 principles drawn from Denise, and that constructivity and multiple embodiment principle, dynamic principle, and then perceptual variability principle. And also according to his theory, mathematics was the study of structure. Meaningful mathematical learning was to provide enriched mathematical learning experiences so that children could be meaningfully guided to discover structural relationships between concepts, connect with numbers, and their application to problems arising from the real world. So in this research, as I mentioned, the peer coaching model is applied, and also try to help teachers raising their capabilities of using inquiry-based instructional activity design and implementation for future learning. And a qualitative case study approach is employed in this one-year study, and data are collected and analyzed in this case study approach. And here are the findings. And the 2 sections, design and implement the PD programs, and also the finding of the PD processes. And if time is enough, we will have a brief examples about young children's learning activity that was designed, the lesson was designed by the teachers and implemented. Okay, and for the teacher PD programs, and that's what are designed based on the teaching triad model. So the management of learning is the ML, and mathematical challenges, MC, and sensitivity to students is SS. These 3 are used to design the PD lessons. Here are the main activities for each part. So for the ML, there are two parts: rational and principle of thematic teaching, because some teachers still not familiar with thematic teaching, and also instructional design for learning number concept and under the thematic teaching. That's for the ML. And for the MC, and part of the three parts: principle of number concept development and learning material of number concepts. So we will give them then some other people's designs, learning materials, and in Chinese or in English, so they will understand how to design a number concept lessons, and also teaching strategies used for helping kids to understand the number concept. And for the SS part, the two parts, young children's development of number concepts, mostly are more psychological based about the children's development. So teachers will understand in different age, or for the different kids, they probably have different process needs, like the Jake just mentioned about the equality part, equitable access for the content. So what kind of needs we need to provide as a teacher in the whole learning process. And the second part is children-centered thematic learning activities with integrated life experiences. So they have to be sensitive about what kind of content they provide that is related to their students' real life situation. So that's the PD programs. And here are the models, final models. After a whole year, we concluded the whole processes. We implemented the PD. So there are 6 dynamic revision stages. Okay, there's 6 stages. Let me see. Okay, so the first one is try to understand teachers' original teaching habits, and so that's we try to find out each teacher's strengths and the weakness of them. And then the next stage will be expanding their teachers' professional knowledge, especially for some teachers, because we have 8 teachers included in this PD, and like almost half of them, they're not truly familiar with all mathematics, numbers, concepts, knowledges. So we need to provide more information about them so they can relearn about this number concept again as an in-service teacher, since they don't have that in pre-service training program. And then the third one, we try to promote the discussion and practical reflections. So after they learn, they know each other, they can discuss, and they try to share their ideas, their learning reflections. And then we have a summative reflection and teaching practices. And so teachers try to teach, that share their ideas, and then we discuss with individual teachers for their teaching. So for 8 teachers, then every one of them has to teach in their classroom. So after the whole group discussion, we need to provide suggestions or recommendations for individual teachers. So we work with individual teachers for their special needs. And then at the final stage, we do the peer observations and revisions. Of course, after the observations, they get together, discuss what they find, they observed, and then try to do the revisions. And we do it after every class. So we do it every day. So because thematic teaching is a kind of immersion teaching approach. So we need to try to revise our teaching process every day so that we can really reach students' needs. That's the 6 stages. And one of the example they use is activity try to use picture books for teachers to explore possible contents for number concept. So we introduce in the PDs this kind of materials they can use for counting. So you see there's cow and a pig, and so different kind of animals that will be interesting for kids. So they will use this picture books. So the example later we will show you that also use different kind of picture book in at the beginning. And also for the teacher PD process, there we conclude that we characterize the whole PD process in 5 gradations. These 5 gradations. So with this, the first one, awareness. So this is what the teachers say, are we a bit eager to teach and not giving our children enough time to think and absorb? So when they discuss, they find out, probably they don't give their kids enough time to think. And so that a student probably don't understand, they cannot absorb what is taught. So this is so important for them. So for example, like this is the abstraction principles we show them by Professor Wu. And while counting, they understood what that we can count any collection of objects, whether it's tangible or not. For instance, size, color, shapes, they can do it differently. But before that, teachers don't know it. And they just, use this one way to teach, and also don't give children enough time to think and reflect. And in the second gradation, they start to find out, they give children less opportunity to explore, especially the inquiry base, and to grow up, since they have a less time to think and to reflect. So here we gave them because we gave them the idea from Denise. This is a 6 stage for learning and mathematics: free play, free experiments, comparison, representation, symbolization, and formalization. So after that, and they discussed, they understood that young children can potentially find out the number concept through free play and experiments. So, and actually they did it in a classroom, and then actually they find out kids can do more than what we as adults think. So they understand they need to give them more opportunities to explore. And the third part, they're trying to learn and decentrally from traditional teaching method, and understand mathematics teaching needs to be integrated with all other subject areas. And so that's the importance of thematic teaching. So especially if you want to increase teachers' efficacy, very cautious experiences are really important for teachers that can help them to decentral their thinking and actions of instructional design from the traditional way. So there are two experienced teachers in the whole group, and they become kind of like a model, demonstrate how they teach and is sharing their ideas to other 6 teachers. So they show how they teach, and then others observe, and after observation they discuss, so they understand, oh, then I can use this way to teach. So for example, that when they teach measuring instructions, 3 teachers, they use 3 different ways to measuring, to teach, implementing their measuring instructions, and using different kind of teaching aids to teach. Okay, and the 4th part is examining. So through the PD programs, the principles, especially, for example, the MC part, the principle of teaching and learning addition and subtraction was discussed. So they try to examine their own abilities about guiding young children to learn number concepts. And after they teach a lesson and then they discuss, they find out they probably teach in the wrong way. So unless this is the time the teacher educator jump in to tell them about the professional knowledge about addition and subtraction. So for some teachers, so they can grow up. And also they reflect on their own professional knowledge and capability for teaching number concept. So, and they think they need to keep learning. So they ask us to provide more information about the number of concepts. And then the 5th stage is the progressing. They have insight into inquiry-based and systematic teaching. I think after more than in the 2nd semester, and they become aware of try to find out the balance between emergent, the thematic teaching, and also the systematic curriculum instruction. And the traditional way is systematic, and systematic teaching is emergent. So they're trying to find out the balance. What kind of situation I have to use emergent teaching approach, and what kind of situation have used systematic approach. So it's so important. They get inquiry-based teaching and systematic teaching, and together try to promote students' robust understanding. And here is the activity. So there is a trees in the playground. And in this playground, the kids call it mama tree. Okay, it's really huge. As you see, there's some climbing things around the mama tree, and it's tall and big. So when kids have the recess time, they went out and then they come back to the classroom. The teachers heard that some kids are talking about, you know, how tall the mama tree is. You know, I wonder, you know, how can we know it? So, and the teachers think this is a good timing for them to have a measurement, a learning for kids. So they try to discuss and design this measurement lessons. And they use picture book, this one, the pyramid building, for the guiding students to explore as the lunch stage. Okay, and here, so kids start talking about, you know, how, what kind of their experiences about measurement. So kids will say they will use rulers or the cord. They saw their mother or father doing that, and maybe they can dividing, you know, the mama trees for the 2 parts above or under the tree house, you know, and some kids also say we can take a helicopter to, to do that, to do the measurement, or using ladders, or as some say, trying to climb the tree, maybe, and then we can know how tall it is. So kids have a lot of imaginations, so they spread out their ideas. So the teacher guide them to discuss, and also with the help of the picture book, how tall is the giraffe is. So they try to guide them to think about, maybe you can find out the right way to do the measurement. And after discussion, they actually have two groups. They decide several, actually like 4 or 5 different kind of solutions for measurement. But after voting, and 2 are were left. So one is the photo group. They want to take photos and then try to compare the photos and to see how tall the mama tree is. And the second group is the balloon group. Okay, they want to have a balloon and then try to see, the length of the cord, and then probably they can know the how tall the mama tree is. So they spread in 2 groups. One are 13 kids, one are 12 kids, and everyone have their roles in the group. So they can help each other. They can do it collaboratively. And this is the group, the photo group. So they try to take the photos. They find out the best photo that can show the whole body of the mama tree, and they discussing the ways to use the model. They before they take in the photos, they discuss. They actually decide there is a model. Her name is Chi Chi, and she is 110 centimeter tall, and so use her as a model for comparison with the mama tree. So they took photos on that, and so they try to pile up the photos of Chi Chi and with the mama trees. But as you see on the right side, 2 different ways of that. So they find out different kind of things, and on the left side, maybe they printed the photos too big. So, different angles to look at it, and taking the photos in different angles. So then they got different kind of answers. So they have to discuss, work in a group that say to decide which one is correct, and or mostly correct. So finally they decide, find out one of them is most right, because they've taken the picture of the mama tree and the model in the same angle, and the mama tree is 11 times a little bit more of the model Chi Chi. So then they got their answers. And here is the photo group, and the photo group tried to use it. But before that, they try to decide, what kind of cord they are going to use. So kids raising different kind of things, and teacher finding different pictures online and showing that you might have a soft knitting wool, or stitches, or plastic rolls, or kite cord. And finally, after discussion, they decide to use the kite cord for the tightening the balloon, and then they can put the balloon up and then measure the mama tree. So here are the answers. Okay, So, and they got answers here. The photo groups, they had their answer is 12 and a bit more of the model Chi. Okay. So, but for the comparison, for the photo group, they got an answer of 11. So why? Why they get the two different kind of answers? Two different kind of answers. So they start to discuss in a whole class together and try to find a gap of the two groups. Um, you know, afterwards they find out, it's probably because the curved stitches, because the wing, the stitches, the kite cord is not straight and it's curved. So probably because of that, then you have, the answer of balloon group is longer, is bigger, and then the photo group. Okay. And here is the whole activity group, the maps we concluded. So at the beginning, they try to discover the problem, and that's originated from kids. The mama tree is bigger and tall and or getting older, and how to measure it. So then they try to discuss from the height and how to measure the height. And they have previous experiences. So in their life, how do they measure other things in the real life situation? And also teachers trying to help them to scaffold students learning at the beginning using the picture book, and also in the process try to asking and open any questions to help kids to think about it. And also they do the experiments together and try to find out the answer and try to compare the two groups answers, answer 1 and answer 2, and cross verification of 2 answers. Finally find out probably the mama tree is about 11 times and more of the model Chi. And then so they can have opportunity to reconduct other experiments, so they can try to measure other things on campus. So this is the whole activity map. And for conclusion, and the final model of the teacher PD programs with 6 dynamic revision stage is proposed and verified in later studies. And actually this model is used for the current study. And for teachers, the targeted the kindergarten, the 8 kindergarten teachers have a great deal of growth and their general mathematical knowledge and teaching strategy of young children's development of number concept, and the capability of designing and implementing inquiry-based activities, especially for number concept in semantic teaching. And also, they are able to employ real-life situation to create a rich and also emerging learning environment for their kids to explore the real world mathematics. And for kids, through plays, their kids' learning needs and interests are enhanced, where teachers provide essential guidance for promote robust understanding of number concepts. And here are the current and future study. And the first one is theory of embodied mathematics cognition for young children. This theory is employed in the next research project, and kindergarten teachers' understanding and implementation of the theory are assessed quantitatively. And also embodied mathematics learning modules are designed through the professional dialogue process in the PD program later. And also an ongoing 2-year longitudinal study. The first one is the 2 objectives. One is exploring young children's visible learning performance. And the second one is explore the process of their cognitive construct through the interaction between learners, embodiment, and the learning environment. So this is what we are doing it right now. But because of the pandemic, actually, this study has been postponed because we're not allowed to get into the classroom, and also especially the last semester, it's a lockdown in Taiwan, so students have to uh, stay at home. And for elementary school, we can do the online learning. For kindergarten, it's really hard to do the online learning. So this part we would do it. Hopefully, we can have a better next semester. Then we can start again our research project in the kindergarten classroom. Okay, and this is the end, and thank you. So I will start sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Lange, for this interesting presentation for the second paper. I think for first of all, we open the discussion for Q&A if anyone would like to ask uh, any question about this paper. So I can begin. I think that this topic is very important topic, and it is a prerequisite for the first paper. I think it is a prerequisite because it relates to the kindergarten, this age, not the elementary school, but before the elementary school. So it's very important to prepare and to choose the qualified teacher the teaching staff themselves. It's very important factor in the successful of this program. How can they be qualified to give these very young children, very small age of children, the way to think, the way to absorb and to cooperate with them. So it needs a training, a big stuff and big training program in fact. Not anyone, I think, doctor, that not anyone can be eligible for teaching, in particular for this age. Not any teacher can be eligible. In addition to let them learn and to give them training courses, they must be chosen. They must be chosen as for their characteristics and the personal factors that they can give, they can teach, they can manage, and they can deal with such concepts and with this age. Not anyone, of course, can teach for the very young, small age. This thing. The other thing, as you talk about it from a minute ago, the pandemic period. Say it will last for coming year. What you are going to do? There must be a solution for a, for another alternative way or method to reach such young students or such young children. Here in Egypt, for example, we are spreading programs all over the schools and the kindergarten, which is the online. It's online is very difficult stuff, I know, but already they are developing programs fitting their mind. Why don't you begin to think about something like that? E-learning. E-learning can fit different ages, different categories of children, for different category of uh, stages, preschool, and then the elementary and afterward. Why don't you think about it? Because e-learning now is the prevailing substitutional programs along the schools and universities. Nowadays, we have something like that in the university, which is substituting the face-to-face teaching and learning because of the pandemic. So we are now shifting totally, I think 95% or 98% shifting to be online and e-learning. As for the school, already now there is another system is being established and being circulated, giving the whole school what's called the tablet, and they can go into the system and they can be with practice with the system or the headquarter of the school or the teaching staff and all of that while they are at home. As for the very young children, this is what I know and what I hear from my some of my colleagues. They have children kindergarten and preschool age that also they have such programs. In addition to stuff, they have been created and designed stuff, CD and online programs so that they can do what you are talking through your presentation about it. To make such housekeeping or such tasks at home, they can do it at home and they can do it also in a group activities while they are at home. Of course, with the assistance of their mother or whoever, but they can still do it with their colleagues online because of the pandemic. So, do you think about such things to develop your program in such track on such a way? I don't know, of course, what I'm asking. But anyway, what do you think? The first important thing also is the SWOT analysis for the teachers, SWOT analysis for the children themselves is very important, and it is a scientific method before doing any new research or implementing any new method to know the point of weakness and the point of strength. Anyway, thank you. And I want to hear from you to elaborate these main points.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I think you mentioned about that, the online learning. Of course, we can do the online learning in different kind of ages for different kind of age of students, but it's really yeah, I like the idea that probably we can offer some e-learning activities at home, so students or kids can learn with their parents' help or no, or with peers if they have brothers, sisters. But it's a problem that some kind of their learning resources, for example, of course, we can solve the problem of picture books. That's no problem. We can have an electronic version. But the teaching aids, not every kid's room, home, they have that kind of teaching aids at home. So it's impossible to ask every parent, to get that teaching aids at home so that they can practice that at home. And also, I like the idea to have a face-to-face. Of course, right now we're doing the online part, the virtual. So I like to have the face-to-face interactions. Actually, I think Professor Wu likes that too. Within this kind of face-to-face learning environment, we can give them directly, the instant assistant, or we can find out the problems they might have, directly, and then so we can provide assistance. So, or we can guide them to go to the right way, and kids can, interact personally with each other and also interact with the whole learning environment that the teacher designed. So yes, we can, of course, because the pandemic, as I mentioned, the school has been locked down, and then it's hard for them to learn and for teachers to design the lesson plan. So of course, we have to find out more ways to as a supplemental methods to teach. Otherwise, if the situation getting worse, then children cannot be learned at their home. So we need to be aware of that. So I think that's the main idea. of
by other means by other means to use
mhm.
more technological
Yeah.
methods to fit certain different of age categories and mind categories, mind differences.
Mhm.
Of course, some minds can know how to practice through technology. Some others know they need more assistance through the face-to-face communication and the skills. So we can enhance also the skills, the scientific skills, the thinking skills, the communication skills of the
Mhm.
children who are in need for such help or assistance.
Yes,
So
right.
this all, as you said before, we are in need to integration for the whole system, not only
Yes.
teaching or mathematical teaching. No, the whole system must integrate.
Yes, and this is what I mentioned in the current study for the embodiment part. So the embodiment not just use their own body, using teaching as we also use the probably later we will use technology based teaching ad for kids to explore. Like we can have them to see the drawing on the software for geometry or something. So this is what we're doing right now, integrate more different kind of materials and teach strategies in for young children's learning mathematics. So yeah, thanks for your suggestions about that. Yeah. Okay.
And thank you also for your presentation, for your paper, and for the second paper. It was very successful studies, and I hope you get more and more findings in your second phase of paper. And I hope to also to chair and participate in another conference where can you submit
Yeah.
your findings for the next step and phase. Thank you
Yeah,
also, Jack.
totally. Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you. Yeah, and Professor Wu is here aside.
Very
thank you
nice.
for
Thank
your
you.
Thank
study.
you.
Yeah,
And now, Jack, thank you
Yes,
for this first successful session. And
absolutely.
I hope
My
you will
pleasure.
participate with us next day.
Yeah, it's always, a different when it is virtual. And as just to comment on the last question about integrating more of the technology, this is just a parental view, having a child in the system as well in the college and in public. The effect on social emotional that it's having,
Mhm.
it is very how do I put this lightly? It is, the stakes are high. So I understand what Professor Wu and Chang are saying, that they like to be in person, face to face, especially with the early childhood development, because these kids, this age that they're studying with right now, when they were born, they were already handed the iPad. So all they
Mhm.
know is the electronic. So
Yeah.
parents need to integrate, they hoping that you as educators are integrating as well, the face-to-face, and of course the pandemic is not allowing a lot of this, but I understand both sides. I understand Dr. Gamit's side and Dr. Chang and Ru's
Mhm.
side. It's parental view. This is my view. So, and I don't know if you are parents or not, but it really is based not just on the cognitive skills that these children will have, but as individuals that need to be into society, the social emotional aspect is so particularly important as well. That's just my
Mhm.
opinion.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah,
it's
I agree. Yeah.
uncomparable, Jack. It's uncomparable. The face-to-face
Absolutely.
communication, always we say that because we are the specialists in communication, and I know the difference and the significant effect of the face-to-face communication, direct communication in comparison to the online, and it's uncomparable. But it's a must nowadays because of this problematic
Absolutely.
pandemic era
Absolutely.
we are all surviving in it, to
Mhm.
have substitute it. That's all.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
No, I know it's a substitution. It's not hopefully going to be the answer, but it is a way of learning. And some students in my in the district my kids are in, we were offered this year when school started, if you wanted to go back to school or if you wanted to stay virtual. A lot of students still stayed virtual because parents found that they thrived. They did better with virtual. They felt better because they didn't have to worry maybe about the bully at school.
Uh-huh.
So it goes back to, again, how comfortable emotionally they are. That's my whole point, is virtual was good for some kids and it wasn't because of the other way. So it is definitely not a substitute. I understand that. Technology is very much necessary in integration. So, you know, and communication for sure. But specifically with Dr. Wu's study being early childhood development, it has, I feel like you said, leave no child behind. You know, that's what California.
Yeah.
And so it really is important, I think, you know, right now, the pandemic, what it has put on the stakes of social emotional well-being of our youth.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Agree
Yeah.
with you.
Okay.
Yep.
So I
Thank
think
you.
that's absolutely. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We are so glad that you were here. And then please join us again tomorrow to continue our session on Global Education Conference. We would love to hear your input as well. And of course, Dr. Gumi is going to present tomorrow, which is exciting to listen to. And we'll also have Dr. Megan Facey present. So with that, I'm going to just say thank you for attending today. I appreciate your time, and we are excited that this went very well, because it's always something that you think about when you're going virtual, is if it's going to work out. So, you know, thank you. And we've been doing it for a while, but you never know, technical difficulties always come about. So I'm so glad that all of you had good bandwidth and everything. So we are so excited that you were able to join us, and we'll continue this tomorrow. Everyone have a great day.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank
Bye.
you. I see you tomorrow. Thank you.